Okay, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ultimate Punching Channel, ultimate in everything MMA and combat sports. I am here with Arturo Vergara, karate combat champion. He's going to be taking on another bantamweight this upcoming December. We're here to get to know him, get to know how he gets into this, and just way more stuff about him. First things first thing I want to know. Were you always a fighter, karate combat, all that kind of stuff, or was this something you kind of just stumbled into later on in your life?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me the show. I love to be here and sharing my experience on the fight game with you and talking about karate combat and my upcoming fight. So thank you for the space, my brother. Um, I start in MMA back in my day when I just starting MMA, but after like a year and back in my country and in my city, it's a tiny city called Los Andes, Chile. So it's a tiny city, so we didn't have like too much resource or where to train, you know. So we decided to go into the big city in Chile to learn some boxing and kickboxing to get better in MMA. But in the way I fell in love with boxing and kickboxing. So I just started to train boxing and kickboxing around like 7 years, something like that, and I fought a lot. I did 80 amateur fight, 80 and between kickboxing and boxing. Yeah, 80 amateur fight in my
That's
country.
a lot.
Yeah, and after that, I did my pro debut in kickboxing, K1. So I have a record 3-1 in pro kickboxing. Looking like after my pro debut and get stuck in my country, say like fuck now kickboxing, they don't pay nothing over there. Like the most I won for a fight was like $80, you know, so $100 for a pro fight. So it's not worthy. So I took the decision to get back into MMA, and that's how I get into Go Shit in Miami. I moved from my city. I went to Mexico, have crazy history in Mexico. I went to USA. I'm all right to Go Shit. Training in Go Shit, doing MMA. The opportunity came to do like karate combat, and I say, okay, step in. This is my sport because I'm striking, but I'm also not good at wrestling. But um, I love to fight and like stand up, a striking game, but also take them. So this is my perfect sport, you know,
Yeah.
ground and pound and no submissions.
I absolutely love the karate combat rule set, right? Because you can go for a takedown, right? But you got to do something with it almost immediately, right? And it leaves it for
Exactly.
never a dull moment, right? You never get any of those situations where somebody's just lying on top of another guy for 5 minutes. So I absolutely love the rule set.
Yeah,
Um,
it's entertainment. It's a lot of entertainment.
in my opinion, Karate Combat right now is probably the second best fight promotion right now behind the UFC. Everything
Oh
else I
yeah,
watch is not nearly as good, not nearly as professional. Like the Pit is such a unique, a unique. I don't even know what you call it. Like a unique place to fight. But
yeah.
I did have a suggestion. So President Awesome, if you ever see this, I want to see the pit walls not quite as steep. You know, like they're a little bit steep. I want to see them a little bit of a less steep angle so that fighters can like fight off of them a little bit more. What do you think
That
about
would
that?
be good. Yeah, that would be good though. But yeah, it's a good idea too. Yeah, it
So,
makes sense.
how long have you been fighting in karate combat? You're the champion now, right? Or you guys
No,
are
no,
fighting for?
I'm going to fight for the belt now. I'm fighting for the belt now in this
Okay,
December. So
December.
I just started fighting karate combat from January of in this year. My first fight was in January
Okay.
26th, and now this is my fifth fight, and I'm going 4-0 in 1 year. Now in December, I close my year with 5-0 and the title.
All right. Well, let's hope for it. I've got a fun fact for you. Every fighter I've interviewed on this channel has won their next fight. So,
Oh yeah, look,
hopefully it's gonna hopefully it'll happen for you too.
hell
Um,
yeah.
so one question I had for you: who inspired you when it came to being a fighter? Is there a specific fighter that you look at and you saw him maybe growing up or something like that and say, you know what, I want to be like that guy? Like, what sort of led you down that path?
Well, when I started in MMA and training was like when I was like 18 years old. Um, my main guys was Muhammad Ali, even Muhammad Ali because of his history. Anderson Silva, and Jose Aldo too. Uh, but yeah, I would say like Muhammad Ali is one of my biggest like pictures. Like in the way like what he talk, and not just because like the trash talk on the show, because he have a good reason to he fight for a reason. He had a purpose. He got a goal, and he chased like freedom with the black people. Like he talk a lot for the black people. So I love that kind of attitude. And besides that, he promote his fight like crazy. He was amazing, and he was the goat. Um, yeah, but in MMA, I watch a lot of guys. I will say I'm a nerd in the fight. I'm a nerd fighter. I
Yeah.
study a lot of fighters. Yeah, I love the fight game. So I try to take from every fighter something. Some details, some techniques, some style.
Yeah. So one of my like the first guy I ever watched fight like in an MMA fight was George St. Pierre, right?
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
Canadian. He's my absolute favorite, right? But one of the things I love about George St. Pierre is that he's like a student of the game constantly, right? And at the time, I believe he was a world champion. But there is a YouTube video of him going to Joe Rogan and basically saying, "Hey, you do this spinning back kick really well. Can you show me?" Right? And of course, there's so like he was the best in the world at the time, and he's
Yeah,
like. Joe's like, well, I don't know if I could teach you anything, but when I do this, here's what I do, right? And just that constant, thirst for knowledge. And so
yeah,
is one
no.
of the reasons I think he's the greatest of all time. But
He actually, I'm agree. I'm agree with you. He's one of the greatest of the whole time, and exactly for what you say. He always was a student, and that's I think is key in this sport. Because when you stop to learn, is the moment you get fucked. Because this sport is evolving too fast, too fast. So it's not a game. You get hit in the face, or you hit an elbow and a knee in your face, and game over. Like. So it's important to be learning like constantly.
yeah, and so for you as a fighter, what is it? What are some things that you do to constantly like learn and evolve your game? Like you said, you're studying other fighters. Like once you study, how does it go in the gym to kind of evolve and improve your game?
First of all, my coach is the go-to. He teaches a lot, and he made us to be like a student from the games. So, um, I told you I study fight. I study like I don't know a lot of technique, what they do, how they live, what is the and not just technique. I learn about the mindset too, because I think one thing is being a fighter, and the other thing is being a champ. Fighters and champs are different, but just I think because of the mindset, because the mindset, what you like, uh, the mindset you get while you walking in this way. You know what I'm saying? Like because it's hard to have all these kind of skills, this discipline, this routine, this everything to being a champ of the world or a champion in the life. So that they study a lot too. Let's say George St. Pierre is a perfect example. When he lost against Max Serra, he had how you call it, a sports psychology. He had a
Hmm.
sports psychology, and he told him like, "Yo, grab this rock, write Max Serra name, and throw it away in the lake." So that's a crazy history because he teach him to hold let go that feeling about lose, about that ego thing too. So after that he made his way to the championship, and he said like mental skills and mindset is super important in this game. Same Topuria, same Conor McGregor. they sound cocky, whatever, but those guys are really like they really been like they really study the art of the mind too as well.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's a
Yeah.
lot of things to pick up in the fight.
Yeah, well, and one of the other things I noticed about George St. Pierre, right, is there was a video done by GQ a few years ago about how he basically spent the first $1 million that he made in the UFC, right? And the first thing he said he spent money on was essentially investing in himself to be a better fighter. Like he hired a jujitsu coach, a different striking coach. He spent all this, I think it was something like $70,000, $80,000 on like improving his skills as a fighter.
Exactly, because you need to invest in yourself. You need to have therapies. You need to have best nutrition. You need to have the perfect team. You know, to get into into your goal. You know, the championship. I think it's super important, and a lot of time we ignore that. You know.
Yeah. So moving on, if you had to pick, like, what's the best place, the most interesting place that you've ever had a fight, whether it's with karate combat or in your amateur career, like one place in the world where you fought that was the best. What would you say?
What was like my best fight?
Yeah,
Uh, oh shit, this is a hard one. I would say maybe Orlando when I fought against Joe Field, but also this last fight was amazing because um why I love my last fight because everything I did, every movement I did, I really visualized it before. I really work on it. I really see it in my mind. I have videos from my training camp, like doing the same, starting the fight like that. I thought I gonna knock him out, of course. Always, I thought that, but in my mind, I knew he's going to be tough. So I need to be ready, you know. But yeah, I would say like Orlando and my last fight was the best. Like those are my favorites.
that's fantastic. So now, dream fight, right? If you could fight anybody in the world, anybody in history, anybody ever, who would
Oh
you pick
shit,
for your dream fight?
Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee?
Yeah, or but now like more real. You know who I would love to fight against Jose Aldo, bro. He's
Yeah.
one of the yeah. I would love to fight with him, and I think it's not that far because he's there. He's still there. I don't know. Maybe it could happen. Karate
Yeah,
Combat
you
make
know
it
what?
happen.
I think he would be a great guy to. I mean, who knows what Dana White will allow, but I think he'd be a great guy to have in the pit for like a legacy
Right?
fight or something like that. You guys are the same weight class, so that I think that'd be fantastic.
That would be my dream fight for sure.
So, take me through kind of a day in your life. You're a fighter, obviously, lots of training, things like that. Like, what does a typical day look like for you? Wake up, what goes on during the day.
Well, I have all my routines and my day like super planned. So 7 a.m. wake up. 7:10 a.m. I start with my spiritual routines and my mental performance routine. 7:30 a.m. I start with my mental performance routine. This is everything with fire and stuff like that. Meditation, visualization, uh, some my why I fight, why I do this, why I life compass, a lot of things. 8 a.m. first practice. 9 a.m. second practice, grappling, striking. 10 a.m. sparring, and I finish around 11. So 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. training. After that, I go to my house. I get my food, 11, 11:30, rest, study, study films, study my mine too, uh, have lunch. After that, private class. I do some boxing private too. So, and after that, go back, train again, go to the house, have my last dinner, and rest. That's my day every day.
That that sounds like a busy day full of lots of training, and sounds to me like you don't have a lot of time for extra stuff like that. But when you're not fighting, when you're not training, what are you doing for fun, kind of outside of your combat life?
You know what is crazy? Always they ask me this in karate combat, and I say the same. I just fight. I swear to God, I just fight. That's for me it's the most entertainment, and maybe it's Sunday. I could do some barbecue. I don't know with my girl or with my friends, and that's it. But besides fight, just fight.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I enjoy a lot my life. I enjoy this.
Okay, so like you're going, you're going to a barbecue on a Sunday. Let's say you're having a good time. Obviously, you can't go too overboard, right? Because you still got to make 135. But what are you eating at a barbecue? Like, what's your kind of go to meal?
Oof, I love outside skewer steak. I love that churrasco. We call it churrasco here, but outside skewer steak, I love like I don't know, get a lot of steaks and vegetables. That's my favorite. A lot of steak, vegetables. That's perfect day for me. And like in the beach, right here in Miami, you can go into some parks. It's in the same park you have the beach too, and you have barbecues right there. So those are my perfect spot. Like for me, a perfect day is like that. I go by the morning, I get my fruit after I do my steak, my vegetables, chill right there, and done. Perfect day.
It sounds great. Sounds great. Let me tell you. So one of the things that we see kind of as fans, right? We see the fight, right? So we'll see you in the pit, we'll see you in the karate combat, hopefully getting your hands raised, right? But what a lot of us don't see is kind of what happens, and this is what I'm most interested in. Take me through what happens kind of 24 hours out from the fight, right? What's kind of going through your mind? What are you kind of doing to get yourself ready in those last 24 hours? Obviously, there's kind of that weight cut leading up to it. What's the sleep like right before competition? Take me through all of that.
Well, one day before, when you had to do the wake cut, the night before the wake cut is the worst. I think that's the worst night because you barely sleep. You are dehydrated, and so it's hard. That night is hard. After the weigh-ins and everything, the night before the fight for me is just it's amazing, bro. Of course, a lot of feelings, different feelings, too many feelings. Is something like you cannot explain, because I cannot say I'm not scared. I cannot say I'm not getting anxious, but I do. But I think in some percentage are like controllables, You can control that. You can say, okay, I feel scared, but I feel anxious, but at the same time I feel excited. I feel super grateful before the fight. Super, super grateful. That's the biggest feeling I have before a fight because it's a long way to being there, Even you can do everything right. And let's say in the last couple of weeks or in the last day you get injured and no fight, or your opponent get injured and it's not fight. So the day before the fight, my biggest feeling is being grateful. Grateful with the life, grateful with God, and grateful to be here and one step to achieve my dreams. Uh, Um, so the day of the fight, I wake up, I do my routines every day. For me, I try to do the same exactly every single day because it's another day, and my morning routines, pray, pray for me, pray for even for my opponent to get healthy into his house. It's a fight,
Mhm.
whatever. We had bad intentions, but I hope him. I always wish him the best. To get healthy into his house with his family and whatever. Nothing. Enjoy the day. Enjoy. For me, it's my birthday. That's what I feel. I feel today is my birthday. I'm gonna have a fucking good time. I'm gonna have a hell of a good time. It's my day. I'm gonna show who I am. I'm gonna show my skill. I'm gonna show all the workout now. So if 5 days, the best day, party day.
Do you sleep at all before a fight day? Like I know a lot of
Yeah,
people, I've done some competitions and certain things in my life, and I know like kind of the night before I'm just like, I doze off here and there, but then I get up. I'm like, okay, is it time to go? Oh, no, it's only 2 a.m. Right? Okay,
yeah.
it's time to. Okay, no, it's only 4 a.m. Right? So do you gotta go through anything like that?
No, I sleep super good. The day
Really?
in
Okay.
the same day after the fight when if I won, bro, that when I won always after that night like I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep. I'm too excited. I have too much adrenaline on my. I cannot sleep. But the day before, yeah, I sleep super good, super good.
That's interesting. So like, and that kind of leads me into my next question. Now take me through. Okay, you've won your fight, or maybe you've lost, right? What's the next 24 hours like? Now, I would imagine, like I've done a little bit of training here. I got a little bit of cauliflower here, and then when I tried
Hey,
to sleep on it, I would sleep on my side and wake me up, and I'd be like, okay. You guys get hurt way more than that. So what's that like? Like I'm sure it bruises, all that other kind of stuff. Tell me about that.
yeah. Oh shit, bro. The cauliflowers are the worst. Now mine are like fucking stiff, But when you, as soon as you get it, you cannot sleep for this side, for your ear. You cannot sleep for that side. That's the worst pain. After the fight, yeah, no, all of your body hurts. Even your knees. If you hit with the knee, your knee's gonna hurt for sure.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Even if you don't get hurt, if you don't get punches or kicked, you're still getting hurt. So yeah, that night is like, oh, the best for me. After the fight, I take a cold shower, a cold shower, and that helped me a lot to relax. Of course, when I win, I try to do always. I do like what I love to do after my fight is go to a restaurant to get my the best meal I can, like steak or pizza. Pizza my favorite, so I
Mhm.
try to get pizza right away. Nothing enjoy with my friends, with my family, with the family I have here is my girl and that's it. My friend who live with me, so I enjoy with them, and after go to rest and start again.
Okay, and so after you kind of win, or after you win the belt, like here's hoping, right? What's kind of how long do you take off, kind of after you've finished competing? Rest, recover, whatever, before you kind of get back into the gym and like on to the next thing.
Look, in my last fight, I fought Friday. I stay in Utah till Monday, and Tuesday I was training already. Tuesday I was training
Wow.
back in Miami. Yeah, back in training. I try to keep that habit. The thing is like, I, five games saved my life. So it changed my life and saved my life from a lot of things. So for me, like go back to train is like a kind of therapy too. More than just trying to be the champ or be the best. Like I'm gonna train till the day of my die, because I love this, I love fight, I love train, and I cannot wait for get back into the gym for real. After the fight, I cannot wait to get back into the gym. Like learning, I love to learn. I love learn about the sport. So for me, it's go into the gym again, learn again, new movement, new things, and after each fight you feel different. That's a good thing about fight. After each fight and after each hard training camp, you are a different person. You are a completely different person in every way. Like your mindset, your heart, your soul, everything is different. For real, that's
Mhm.
why I love fight too, because it's like overcoming yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a ton of respect for everything you guys do, because I know myself, I probably would never step in there. Maybe I'll get good enough to do a pit submission type thing one day. I don't know.
Hey.
We'll see, right? But like what you guys do, I have huge amount of respect for. But I did want to ask you just kind of about how you sort of give back a little bit in terms of maybe in your gym or the next generation of upcoming fighters or different things like that, right? Like a lot of gyms, they basically have a situation where like, okay, you guys are the elite of the elite right now, but there are people coming up in the gym who like need people like you to kind of guide them, and you kind of share your wisdom and your experiences and everything
Yeah.
you've been through. Maybe take me through that a little bit.
Yeah, always I try to help. I think that was super important for me, and I'm a guy like who believe a lot in the energies, and I believe in God, but in no religion, in God, my God, in my own God, and in the energy. So for me, when I start in this road, I have a lot of people like they help me. Like we know like some payback, you know. So I try to keep that same principles and the same way, the same values. So always if somebody's new come to the gym or he trying to learn, I super open to help him, you know, to share my wisdom, to share my experience, to share how it's been this way for me. I try to tell him, hey, don't do this, may better do that, you know, or take this way. Because I think the life works like that. If you give something, always you're gonna get something like, but not expecting something. Just do it because it's from your heart, you know. And I try to live my life in that way. I try to give. I try to be a giver, you know, not a taker.
Yeah, yeah, I see that, and you know what? I see that a lot in kind of the martial arts community, right? I just feel like there's a lot of and there's always jerks everywhere, right? But for the
Of
most
course.
part, whether it's in MMA gyms, jujitsu gyms, or whatever, most of the people are ready and willing to help the people coming up because they had people kind of help them when they were starting out, and it's just kind of this kind of cycle of giving that goes. This is what I've noticed.
Yeah, and those guys, well, how you say, you have jerks in everywhere. Those guys, they love to hit people or the hobbies or the amateurs or the new guys. Bro, those guys are always losing all the fights. It's like
Mhm.
crazy, but this whole life works. They are champ in the gym, but after when they go to fight, they are nothing. They are nobody. So I think you got
Mhm.
to be like aligned with your purpose and what you want and how you start and where you're gonna be. You know.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and I couldn't agree more. Last thing I wanted to ask you before we wrap up here is about legacy, and I always ask every fighter about this. You're putting it all on the line, basically for yourself, but also to entertain us as fans, right? And if you were to, whenever that time comes where you have to hang it up, because a lot of people, that time comes for everybody, what would you want your legacy to be, both in karate combat, as a martial artist, as a fighter, and all of the above?
The biggest Latin American athlete in the history. I will be the biggest face. I will be like the face of the American dream. I'm gonna be the face of those guys. They have no voice. They have no choice. They didn't have a chance. For all those guys, they came from tiny countries with no dreams, with no opportunities. That's what my legacy will be. Like talk for all those guys. Like they're gonna have a face and an example to say, hey, doesn't matter where you came from, you always can do it. Doesn't matter where the situations are, you always can do it. You know, doesn't matter what. So that's my legacy is about, like to be the American dream, the face of the American dream from the Latin American people and all the immigrants. Because I'm an immigrant and I know how is this life. I know what you have to live. And for everything you have the bad and the good, right? So if you say, oh, you think an immigrant sometimes, and you think, piece of shit. Yeah, of course, because a lot of guys they just came to do stupid things, you know, but it's another guys like me or a lot of families right here in Miami and everywhere. We came to work, you know, to really trying to change our life and for us and for our family and for the next generation and for whoever is needed, you know. So for me, being able to fight and also to put my legacy on the highest levels to say this is the for me the most beautiful and the biggest toll I ever had in my life.
Well, I'm wishing all the best for you in terms of that, and I think you absolutely can. And it's going to start this upcoming December when you win the belt as the
Yeah,
bantamweight
well,
karate combat champion, and then after that, the sky's the limit, right?
exactly, my brother. After that, we had to do another interview with the belt. I will have
Absolutely.
the belt.
I want the karate combat belt front and center on the Ultimate Punching channel.
I got you, brother. I got you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to put this is going to be on YouTube. And if anybody wants to reach out, because I know fighters need sponsors, if anybody wants to reach out to you to sponsor you, how do they do it?
Well, you can find me in X, Twitter, or Instagram, and you can DM me, Makakoflow. I put in there, so you can reach me out by DM. I have two more spots open for the sponsors, so now is the perfect timing to work with me, believe in my career because I coming for everybody. I coming for the title, and I just started in this.
All right. You heard it from the future biggest face of Latin American MMA ever. Let's go.
Thank you,
Thank
my
you so
brother.
much, sir.